At a time of year synonymous with being the best time of year to sell a home in the GTA, that spring market. Conditions across the Greater Toronto Area are anything but ideal for home sellers right now. We're seeing active listings numbers up at where we're used to seeing them in May or June. We are seeing sales numbers down used to where we were seeing them maybe January or February. We're not seeing that March kick that we always get every single year. Couple that with consumer confidence being in the tank, to put it politely, and it's just not a great recipe for GTA home sellers. I'm going to cover all of that in today's video and share some exciting professional news with you at the end of the video as well. So please stick with me right until then. Hey everybody, if you're new here, my name is Rob Marsiglio. I'm a real estate sales representative in Durham region. Every week on this channel, I dive into the numbers to bring you actionable insights to help you out with your home search, your home selling process, your home renting process, or if you just enjoy GTA real estate, this might be the place for you. So like and subscribe to the channel if that's something that you enjoy. And let's dive into this. Active listings across the Greater Toronto Area, as per my most recent Monday months of inventory update that I share every single week over on Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky. It eclipsed the 22,000 mark on March 17th. That's something we didn't see happen until June of 2024. So a lot more inventory out there. People were asking the question though, are we getting closer to the peak this year? There's a lot more active listings out there already. Have a lot of people already brought their homes back to market. Will things maybe start to slow down a little sooner this year than we've seen in the past? I've got an update for you after 4 days, and it doesn't appear that things are slowing down when it comes to active listings. Here is where we stand 4 days after my Monday update. Active listings across the GTA have climbed by 1,300 active listings, just more than 1,300 active listings. We're used to seeing a big jump the week after March break. You can see that last year we were at 14,400 active listings-ish at around that March 17th point. And then we saw the big jump the week following after the March break up into just over 15,000 active listings last year at the same time. So the big jump isn't surprising because of the time of year, but it may be surprising just based on, that base effect. We're already at high inventory levels and they just seem to be picking up speed, gaining speed even further. So will this trend last? We will keep our eyes on that, but let's break this inventory jump down by region. Again, here's another one of the charts that I share every single week. It's active residential housing inventory broken down by region. So Toronto freeholds in these 4 days from my last update, we're up 10.6%. Toronto condos up 4.3%. Durham region up 9.2%. York region up 5.6%. Peel region up 4.8%. And Halton region up 5.6%. And when we break it down year over year, Toronto freeholds up 55.3%. Toronto condos up 30.4%. Some of you may be surprised that number's not a little bit higher, but Toronto condo was dealing with a flood of inventory even in 2024 that the freehold market hadn't quite seen yet. So that's why these freehold dominant markets are going to see bigger year over year inventory jumps right now. Getting into the suburbs in Durham region, which is the best suburb in the GTA, they're up 52.2%. York region's up 54%. Peel region is up a whopping 66.9%. And Halton region, I have the asterisks here beside the number, up 75.6%. A lot of that is because PropTX, when they took over the MLS from Stratus, they brought in more areas of Halton. They kind of combined their boards. So that jump is probably a little exaggerated from what it should be. Just wanted to note that. As I alluded to off the top, we're in a market environment now where active listings are super high. Again, that was May, June levels, but sales figures are still lagging. And I also noted that March break, the week after, is usually a busy listing week, and 2025 has been no different. Sellers, based on history, that this is the best time to bring properties to market. It looks like many of them have waited. There's probably a lot of terminations and relists in here, but you can see that our 4 busiest listing days of the year have been the past 4 days of this week, and we eclipsed the 900 new listings mark for the first time all year on March 20th. Looking at the 7-day rolling average over the past 4 days, you can see that that's definitely ticked up right across the Greater Toronto Area, up to about 650 new listings per day as of March 20th. It's the freehold side that is really driving it. We've seen a big jump this past week, going from just shy of 300 new listings per day. Probably a little muted because of the March break, but even if we take this point right here being March 6th or 7th, it was just over 300. We are now creeping up to about 400 new freehold listings hitting the market per day. Whereas on the condo side, the jump hasn't been as drastic. It's definitely still up. It's over that 250 mark, but we were kind of creeping up on that 250 mark in early March before falling off the March break and starting to build back up now. So home sellers are excited about the spring market, trying to bring properties back to market, refresh those listings for the spring market. But this next chart, it's going to show you kind of the state of consumers in Canada right now and their confidence in the markets. I took this one from Ben Rabideau on Twitter, highlighting the index of consumer confidence taken from the Conference Board of Canada. They plunged to levels below what we saw even in the pandemic. And when consumer confidence gets that low, making a big purchase is the last thing on their minds. That has been reflected in early year sales numbers. This faint blue line is 2025, and you can see that February coming out at 4,093 transactions reported sales. It's the slowest February that we've seen going back to at least since 2010. And what I've done is kind of used how things are trending in March versus how they are trending in February to try and come up with maybe where we will end up with at the end of March. Will we miraculously pull out of this slowdown in sales, or are things trending not so hotly still? And here's what I came up with. So across the greater Toronto area, again, reported sales through the first 14 days of the month. The red bars are March, the black bars are February. Across the GTA are up 4.55%. Reported sales through the first 2 weeks of March is the lowest they have been, just as they were back in February. But when we break things down by region, you'll see that not everywhere is experiencing the slowdown to the same degree. Year over year, it's definitely been the slowest right across the board, but some markets are picking up a little more from February into March, but not all of them. Let's start with Toronto freehold in their market. So 375 sales through the first 2 weeks of March is up 17.5% from where we were in February at this point. Then you move on to Halton region, we're up about 9.1%. Durham comes in next at 3.6%. The rate of sales increasing is 315 sales reported through 2 weeks of March versus 304 in February. Over to York, it's similar to what we saw in Durham, 3.2% increase in reported sales early March. When you get to Peel, that's when you start to see a actually sub 1% increase in the rate of sales through early March. Only 3 more reported sales in early March compared to early February. And lastly, and maybe not shocking to a lot of you, is that the Toronto condo market actually saw sales slow down through the first 2 weeks of March relative to where they're at through the first 2 weeks in February. Now, projecting is a fool's game, but I am maybe one of the biggest fools on this platform. So I tried my hat at it just a little bit based on those percentage numbers, that 4.5% increase, as well as a bit bigger increase, just taking into account that March has a few extra days than February, and that we didn't see the rate of sales really drag down in March as much as we saw it in February. February had the reporting for 1 week really dragged down by that Family Day long weekend. So let's take a look at this one final chart to kind of see where we may end up in March across the Greater Toronto Area. And the chart looks similar to the first one that I shared, comparing everything year over year, but you can see I've added 2 little lines to the end of the 2025 transactions line. And we'll zoom in so that you can really see what we've done. So this light blue line is based on that 4.5%. So if we go from 4,093 reported transactions in February and kind of stay at 4.5% increase month over month, we'll end up with about 4,300 reported sales in March. I also did a line which is a 10% increase from where we were in February, and this takes us up to about that 4,500 sale mark. But I want to know what you think in the comments below. Where are sales headed in March? First off, will they be up from where we were in February? I think I can confidently say that they will be, but I want to hear what you think. And then by how much? Throw a number in the comments. Let me know how many sales will be reported in the Greater Toronto Area in March, and we'll use the Habistat numbers. I'll update that in a video next month. That's all the charts that I have for you today. And I hope I highlighted where we are kind of at right now in the Greater Toronto Area. As a home seller, if you're having a tough time selling your home, you are not in a unique position. People are having to make concessions to sell their properties Consumer confidence is low, as you can see from that chart that I shared from Ben Rabideau. And inventory is piling up. You have a lot of competition. Really, no matter where you are, inventory levels are up significantly from where they were last year at the same time. So not the spring market that we're used to, but I hope this video kind of helped you maybe understand what is going on in the market right now. On to my big news professionally. And if you follow me across other social platforms, you've probably seen this announcement already. And if you are observant, you may have seen in my signature that pops up at the bottom of the video, I made a brokerage switch. So after 9 years in real estate, both on the admin, finances, operations side, and sales, I've switched from Keller Williams to Valerie Real Estate. You may not be familiar with Valerie Real Estate, and that's because it's a very new, up-and-coming brokerage. It's Canada's first AI-powered brokerage. And I made the switch because, as you know, from following me on this channel, data, I like to dive into the numbers. I like to try to be analytical about it. And Valerie is providing all the tools that I think will take that data and analytics to the next level for my business. They're also rolling out a lot of cool stuff for the consumer as well, really trying to take down that veil, give you all the information that you need to make a smart, informed decision in what is one of the most emotional processes that you'll go through in your life. And that doesn't matter if it's buying a home or renting a home, choosing where you're going to live. It's an emotional process. If we can provide you with more information and more data to try and clarify that decision for you, I think that's a great thing. And that's what we're really trying to do over here at Valerie. So I'm excited about where this next chapter of my professional life will take me. I'm excited about all the added value that I'll be able to bring to you, the consumer, as well. I'm just excited about this switch. So if you want to know more about Valerie, I did put the link to the website down below in the description of this video. And as always, there's a calendar link to book a call directly with me in my calendar to learn more about the company. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me about Valerie, about this video, about anything going on in the real estate market. I'm always happy to chat. And as always, I am so grateful to you, the viewer, for sticking with me right through to the end of another video. Until we speak again next time, please stay safe and cheers.